welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me as always is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Well, after what was this? 3 week? Almost 4 week
hiatus.
Yeah. Yeah,
Let's say a month off.
Yeah, about a month off there for sure. It's been a little while. Been a little while since we've talked the Star Wars.
Yeah. A little behind.
A lot, yeah. Well, a lot behind, but really.
I guess at the same time, not really, though. If you
No.
cut out a few pieces of content.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we did want to kind of get back into podcasting and kind of explain a couple of things, sort of what's been going on and maybe some of the future direction, as well as talking a bit about this Book of Boba Fett trailer, which will be coming pretty soon. The
December 29th.
Excuse me, the series. Yeah, exactly. So we've I don't know, have we been looking forward to Book of Boba Fett?
I would say somewhat. I mean, everyone keeps calling this the continuation of Mandalorian, which I don't see how it is. And I know a lot of people are more hyped than I probably am, but I still hold out hope that it will be good.
Yeah.
Aaron Morrison's amazing in every way possible, and, Finnick's an awesome character, so I'm looking forward to the stories. I don't know, it's just not as exciting as Mandalorian or Clone Wars Season 7, stuff like that, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if I was or not. The trailer wasn't too bad, I don't think. I think it sets up an interesting story, but I suppose before we react to the trailer, well, how's your week been? Or I guess how's the last month been?
The last month, I remember about 10% of it. Let's see. No, it's been a pretty good October. We had a decent bout of good weather. Got to enjoy being outside. We did a little camping together. Did a lot of fun things. Been spending more time with family lately because of recent events and kind of recentering a bit since our time off with the podcast. I think both of us have been focusing a bit more on ourselves, and it's definitely been much needed. Won't necessarily say it's been an amazing month, but it's been a month of growth for me personally.
Yeah. You've obviously been making some changes for sure. Yeah, I mean we're not really going to go into a lot of personal stuff because that's not really what we do anyway. But yeah, I had some family stuff come up. I've had some personal stuff come up that hasn't left me extremely cheerful. Both of us are kind of looking into the new job landscape, which I think will probably be better overall in the future.
Certainly something to look forward to, be excited about, I think, for both of us.
Yeah, for sure. Probably a little bit of stagnation in that kind of set in. At least I know I can probably say that. And not really for lack of trying, but just the natural flow of things.
Yeah.
So,
and we are definitely the type of people who get bored easily with things, I would say.
Yeah.
We tend to hyperfixate. We tend to hyperfixate for a little bit and then, get sick at the thought of that thing after a while. So
Yeah, it's very true. So, yeah, that's all been a journey, I guess. And I think both of us have tried to get out a little bit more, do more stuff. I know I've certainly felt particularly more drawn to occupying my time in different ways than I have over the past year, give or take. I even, with my YouTube channel, I stopped uploading there for a while, even though I had stuff in the bag. I remember
Mm-hmm.
one day I was sitting down to upload videos. I was just like, screw it. I don't want to do it. And it was like, all
Yeah.
I had to do was literally upload them to YouTube.
Hit the button.
It's like they were all edited. Everything was, I just like, nah, I don't feel like it. And I did an update video for that. And I was just like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. And I just honestly haven't felt like it. And I think in a lot of ways, that's sort of what happened with the podcast. We just honestly haven't felt like doing it. And it's not like we haven't been in contact. It's just like for me, I haven't really felt like recording and talking and doing that.
No, I would actually argue we've been in more contact than we have for quite a while. It's just we've been enjoying doing other things in the podcast, and obviously do apologize for people who wait week to week for us. We do appreciate you guys a lot, but I feel like our content was getting a bit, at least for me personally, I think I was getting a bit on the negative side, which isn't all that entertaining. We're not the kind of people who just get all angry and hyper and entertaining when we're angry about Star Wars stuff. Just, it gets boring, I think. So,
well,
for me, definitely need a little break. I don't want to say, I keep leaning towards the word burnout, but at the same time, I don't want to say burnout because, well, it's Star Wars. I'm never going to stop loving it. And, I'd hope that this podcast stays at the current pace for the next, 10, 20 years or so. Why not? But we definitely need breaks from time to time.
Sure. We'll get into a little bit more of content-wise, which I think is actually a little bit more prevalent in the decision than anything else. But yeah, it's I think everybody occasionally gets into those type of moods where just kind of need to step back a little bit and regroup. I don't expect this particular podcast to go on forever, but you never know. I mean, we do talk, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I have friends who have, had to step back and don't upload as regular in their projects and whatnot. Just due to this, that, or the other. But yeah. So I guess to wrap this up before we start talking about more content related stuff, it's just been kind of a difficult couple of months if we're talking just solely about me. But things are starting to. I hate to use the phrase like the light at the end of the tunnel because I'm not necessarily sure that that's exactly what it is, but maybe just getting out of a little bit of a funk, I suppose, in a way. But we'll see. And here's the thing. I mean, if there are breaks in between shows, we're still going to continue to do stuff, but there might be a break here and there. It just literally all depends on schedule and whatnot. And we'll take that as it comes. So, and also we're not big social media guys either, so we don't really we don't really do that much either. So
neither of us do this as a primary or even a secondary source of income. I mean, we don't really make anything. We're just doing this for fun.
Right.
And the way I see it, it kind of gives us a special opportunity that most content creators don't have, where they're forced to have a schedule and, whether they feel up to it or not, they have to pump out that content because that's how they feed themselves.
Yeah. Well,
we can just say, well, we're not in the mood for this, and the video is going to be really negative or somber, monotone. It wouldn't be fair to you guys as our listeners to have to go through listening to us when we're not in our best moods. So I'm glad we're able to take those breaks.
Yeah, there was something kind of odd that happened in the general, like larger content creator world. There was somebody that I'd followed, and I don't really want to get into it because, like, to be honest, I don't really care all that much, but I just thought it was I saw it happen before it happened, but essentially the gist of the story was, a couple that both did content. One of the couple was, I had watched some of their streams, and I was starting to see that they were not happy. Like, you could tell. And it was weird
Yeah.
because it seemed like nobody else caught on to it. Like, it's like, no, this
No
person is
comments or
like,
anything.
yeah, it's like this person is not having a good time here. I don't know why you guys are not catching on to this. It's like, is your own entertainment value outweighing human decency or something? Because it felt really odd. And then all of a sudden, some stuff comes out, and it's like it's a pretty ugly all around. It's one of those who's to believe what, who believes who. And then I'll tell you one of the worst things, and to sort of tie it back here, and the little life lesson, I think. I saw the one half of this particular situation, like even their, in quotations, like best friends sort of denouncing them. It's like, you do realize that you can what would be the correct words? You can see, understand, and admonish someone's faults, but you still, if you are a true friend, should stick by them and
Be supportive.
attempt to, like, okay, so this was something really bad you did, but we're going to help you turn it around. They didn't do anything criminal. Like, there was nothing criminal, but it was just kind of like, yeah, that's kind of a crappy thing to do. You know what I mean? That's not a very good thing. Good person wouldn't do that. But it's like, then you see the friends, the, in quotations, friends turn on, and it's like, well, you just got Hollywooded, my dude. You just got LA'd because they're not your friends.
Were the friends fellow content creators? Or?
Well, yeah, I don't want to go too much into it, but like, because I don't want to like pile on anything because I don't really care for the drama. But like the one was like a supposedly like a really, really good, like, best of friends, and they moved to LA together and lived in a house together for, did all these projects and stuff. And then, now all of a sudden he's like, nah, screw you, buddy. So, and like I said,
that sucks when your livelihood has to, kind of outweigh your friends just to keep face with your audience. I mean, that really sucks.
Yeah. But then to turn it back around, realistically, I think that the thing is, if any of you guys are going through like troubled times or any of that stuff, you really do find out who your friends are, who around you is close, if you're close with your family, that sort of stuff. And you should really hang on to that, for as tightly
and actually
as long as you
acknowledge,
can.
It's actually a very good time to clear out some toxic relationships that you justify for no good reason, unfortunately.
Yeah.
In the world we live in today, I think it's difficult for people to accept that you're only going to have like maybe 2, if you're really lucky, 3 really good people in your life outside of family that you can truly rely on. And it's hard when you build up this nucleus to realize that they're not as important, or you're not as important to them as you would have previously thought. But it is good to cleanse a little bit every once in a while and clear out some of the rubbish.
True that. Which is actually a good segue. Let's clear out some of our particular rubbish, because one of the things that we have that really hasn't brought any joy to our podcasting experience has been the War of the Bounty Hunters.
And every subsequent comic tied to War of the Bounty Hunters.
Yeah. So the War of the Bounty Hunters started, I don't know, it's been months ago now. It's been running for a long time. And
It was
essentially this
summer,
was,
I think, when we started.
yeah. Well, this was a way to tie the 4 main lines into one comic series to have this whole epic, in quotations, arc of the time where Boba Fett was taking Carbonite Han to Jabba, and then now we have a story that involves Kira and all this stuff. And for my part, I mean, we're chugging along okay. I think the individual arcs were pretty decent until we hit this wall. It stonewalled.
I would say until about 6 or 7 comics in for most of them.
Well,
were really good.
I think the main line was good right up until Afro was pretty decent. Vader started to fall off after a bit.
4 or 5, I'd say. Yeah.
It started really strong, and then it got really not great. and then the bounty hunters line was
We never liked it.
We were always gonna not particularly care for that, but the War of the Bounty Hunters is terrible in my opinion, and I also think that it displays, and this is where it gets kind of the negative out. I think it displays the greed of the comic book world right now. So when the pandemic happened, the comics stopped essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And then it almost feels like, whether right or wrong, it almost feels like that they are trying to recuperate every dollar that they can. And through this, they know that Star Wars fans will buy it because it's Star Wars. I can't tell you how annoyed I was when I am reading Dr. Aphra, and it is literally the exact same story as was the main carbon copy of the War of the Bounty Hunters, whatever, the one-off. I can't explain how annoyed I was to pay whatever $4 or $5 for another flippin' comic that it was the exact same thing. And then it wasn't even once, it was like 3 times. We were examining the same exact event, and it wasn't different. I mean, there was no added POV. The POV that it was in did not add anything new to the story. It literally,
maybe like 2 lines of dialogue that were inconsequential at best.
It literally just annoyed the shit out of me. I could not deal with it.
I think it was one thing when we got, the very first War of the Bounty Hunters, when that tread over the same ground we already dealt with the other 4 comics. It was annoying, but it was something that I kind of accepted for what it was, until it started going in reverse and it started copying from that into the other 4.
Yeah.
The amount of copying quadrupled within like 2 weeks, and it was just ridiculous to me. And this is something that Star Wars has actually been doing quite a bit. It's almost like they think our fan base just can't retain anything that we read.
Yeah.
We dealt with this with Light of the Jedi. We've dealt with this with other bits and pieces, and it's just kind of getting insulting at this point.
Yeah.
I can't tell if it's lazy writing or if it's just pandering to a very small amount of the Star Wars fan base who children essentially that can't remember things. Basically, let's just call it what it is.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I think there are a lot of people turning away from comics in general. Mm-hmm. And it's not like comics have been this hugely popular thing overall anyway for a while. I mean, we're not in the golden age of comics. We just aren't.
No. For every one Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you have 5 crappy Star Wars comics. Essentially, I mean, there's not a lot of high quality content right now.
No,
and I won't say ever. I won't necessarily say that comics have ever been like the highest quality, superb content. They're very entertaining to a certain amount of people, and I'm not bashing that group at all. I like comics to an extent, but I don't feel that the Star Wars comics are high quality comics.
Well,
you don't have to be an expert to say that.
There are some that definitely are. I think the 2019 Vader series was very good. Yeah. The Anakin Obi-Wan
has been pretty good.
Yeah, the High Republic's been good. The Obi-Wan Anakin series was good. I think that was only like 4 or 5. It was a short series.
The original Aphra series was pretty interesting.
Some of it was, yeah. There are certainly good comics. I mean, they can tell a story, but War of the Bounty Hunters is just, to me, it's been a very disappointing thing, and it's went on for far too long. It's still going on today. And like I said, it just
for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, well, it feels like it's just a money grab to me at this point. Mm-hmm. It feels like a money grab, and it feels like a way to stick it to all those people that have hashtag make Solo 2 happen as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a clear middle finger to that group, because I mean, what? Oh, here's Kira back again. Okay.
We've
guess.
talked about this with the Drengir. That's really annoying that right now, as it stands, the Drengir have been completely consolidated into comics. Now we're running into that with Kira. Which is another character that everyone loved.
True. Yeah, we'll talk High Republic separately, but let's just finish up War of the Bounty Hunters so we're just not completely negative for forever. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to say this. We are not participating in the War of the Bounty Hunters anymore. When it's over, I might re-examine some of the series, but at this point, I'm done. I'm done with it. We might do a full-on recap at the end, maybe. It all depends on how we feel, but we're not going to try and keep up with it. It's too many comics. I mean, literally, there are weeks when there are like 3 and 4 a week. Mm-hmm. And it's too much, and it just hasn't brought any joy, so we're just not going to do it. That's the end of War of the Bounty Hunters.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, there is a positivity, though, in the High Republic comic series. Mm-hmm. We've both been very complimentary of that, and I think we'll continue to take a look at that because that is ongoing. But to your point that you were kind of making there, the High Republic comic, and we've said this, should have been a High Republic book. And the High Republic book should have been a High Republic comic.
Yeah. The Nihil should be in the comics. Simple as that.
Well, I think the Nihil lend themselves better to comics because they're far
they're
more visual.
They're visual. They're wacky. They're definitely something that it's hard to take seriously when you're listening on Audible with a respectable reader. It's hard to take the Nihil seriously.
Yeah,
I think they're comic villains personally.
Yeah, let's do a little real brief thing about the High Republic. We went through several books. We've had comics. This is another one that I have a really big problem with. I had a problem with them not publishing it when they were supposed to in 2019. Well, excuse me, in 2020. I was pretty irritated with that because I think that publishing had a real opportunity to give people something cool in quotations when we were all at home. And they didn't do that. Now, granted, I get, they talk about, like publishing issues and stuff like that. I think you could have still done it. And I think you should have. And I feel like it was a margin thing. I feel like they weren't they thought they weren't going to sell the books.
You probably would have made it more popular because even if you couldn't have produced enough copies, you would have created this artificial demand for the books. And you have still had Audible regardless. Yeah. And I think that people would have cared a lot more. And that's not necessarily... That's a double-edged sword because, you can't say that the content would have only been good had people been bored with nothing else to do and still consider it good content. But at the same time, it would have been the perfect time to give Star Wars fans a nice, huge chunk of content to go through.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think that that's the point. And I have to say this, because of the build-up and then the extra added build-up of pushing it all back, you really had to put out an epic story. And I don't feel that it's lived up to that. I mean, our first book was a spaceship running into another spaceship and the debris that we had to deal with. I mean, granted, it's terrible, but that is your great disaster.
You know what I think of when I think of the great disaster? I think of those 2 people on that space station, and the one dude's talking about he's got a hot date with
the bar.
The bartender. Yeah. It's like that's the face of this great disaster that killed how many people? Yeah. Those are the only 2 characters I think of that died from it.
The interesting thing
maybe
is
the
that
captain.
Yeah, that was the most memorable thing for me too, and it was so abrupt because essentially, the pieces of debris were moving faster than light, so legitimately they'd be on you before you had any recollection of
middle
it.
of a conversation,
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, and then I can forgive that. We got Claudia Gray's book. What was that, Into the Dark? Not bad. That was okay. That was decent. I liked it. And then we had one of the Justine Ireland books. Yeah, again, pretty good for a kid, for a young adult, young reader, whatever. And then
the young adults have actually been pretty good in the series, ironically, compared to everything else. They've been killing it.
Yeah, they have. There's actually been a lot of media that's come out, so I don't remember it all. But at any rate, well, I even stopped buying hardbacks of some of these. But then we get to Rising Storm, which, I mean, we had such
what kind
high
of
hopes
storm?
for.
That's the question.
It
To me, it's
just
a shit storm.
it just didn't turn out to be anything good. And then, well, here's the other thing too. Okay, so you didn't make Stellan Gios very interesting.
No.
Elzar Mann, I mean, he was interesting, but then it just became a sex joke. But then your most interesting characters, Avar Chris,
they're all sidelined.
Well, and then Kiev from the comics, the characters that were more interesting were in the comics. And then I was not interested in Stellan, who can't dissipate fog. I mean, it's fog, man. This is like the golden era of the Jedi, and you can't dissipate fog.
Your buddy's over there with Avar figuring out how to make rain appear from nothingness.
They made a
thunderstorm. Dissipate fog.
Yeah. I mean,
and one person screaming completely takes you out of focus as a Jedi, a trained master Jedi.
Elzar Mann creates a storm. Avar Chris can organize hundreds of Jedi in vectors to fight space battles or relief missions, whatever part of the book you're in. But Stellan Gios can't move a fog. He can't move. He can't create a protective barrier around people in a fog. Yeah. I mean, what? What was the last book that we did?
The last book was.
I have to go in my library.
Yeah,
because it's been a little bit.
It was our pilot, right? Main character was our pilot.
Out of the Shadows. Yeah. Which was another Justine Ireland book. Yeah, we had the pilot, the cool chick with the cat, and then our Mary Allen Jedi and her Padawan. Who was
nerfed?
Who was our Mary Allen? What was her name?
We just looked this up over our camping trip because we were having a discussion about it.
Yeah, I know. I know. We'll look it up because we are the detail guys. If you remember, It's been a while, but
we plan all this out. How do you spell Muriel?
Yeah, I mean, I'll get there eventually. So Sylvester Yarrow was the pilot, and Vernestra Rowe. Vernestra Rowe, Padawan Emery Kantaros. We also had Cult Master Comac and Reith Silas. And who was our cool little, the kind of the ranger chick who was like part of the Santeca clan? She was cool. It was Syl's like girlfriend who like murdered people with rings.
Yeah.
Rings of death. I'm really trying to buy time as I'm sort of cycling through this, but I can't find her stupid name. This is really dumb.
Perfect opportunity for you guys to comment, and scream her name to us.
Yeah, just shout it through force and time, and maybe one of us will
You know, it'd be awesome if we did a live video where we're just stumbling over trying to remember names, and all of our audience would help us out with that. You guys would be amazing if you did that for us.
All of our audience. How many do you think are out there?
All 10 of you.
All 10. You know, the thing is, we actually just went over 28,000 downloads.
Nice. Nobody listened, but they downloaded.
Well, I mean, that's listens.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she wasn't a Santeca. That was Jordana
Yeah, she was like a cousin.
Sparkburn.
Spark.
Jordana Spark or Jordana? I think it was Jordana or
I
Jordana.
think it was
Jordana.
I think they pronounced it Jordana.
I'm going to say Jordana. So yeah, Jordana. She was cool. She was a good character.
Yeah.
But again, that's the thing. You have these kind of cool minor characters, and then the major characters kind of suck. And it just made me wish that we had books of R. Chris and Keeve out there fighting Drengir. And you know what? They ended the Drengir. The line's over. Mm-hmm. They dealt with it in 10 comics?
And if they ever bring them back, it's very easy to deal with them again, which just cheapens the villain. I mean, it's like, imagine if, think of the epic tale that is the Yuuzhan Vong. And if they just consolidated that into a 10-part comic series, how cheap that would feel. Knowing what we know from them, you know? Yeah. And think about this, too. If we didn't have this podcast, would you have read those comics?
No, probably
honestly.
not.
So we would have had that entire storyline locked away from us. Now, that's not necessarily Disney's fault because we're just not comic people. But to make this your big baddie and just throw them into comics and nothing else, when you know that is not what the majority of your fan base is going to consume content-wise, it's just mind-boggling to me. I don't understand the point of it.
Yeah.
Again, nothing against comic people. I'm sure you guys are having a good time right now. This is your big win, but I don't understand it. And I don't understand why they did it so quickly, regardless of it being in the comic.
Same here, man.
I mean, this could have... I mean, you get 2 potentially 75-issue comic series about Dr. Aphra, but we can't even do 10 comics about the Drengir. When that's the only form of content we have about them, really, other than 2 books that kind of talked about them.
Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah, so realistically, we will probably continue on with the High Republic comics. Mm-hmm. The High Republic books will probably be a little bit more selective about, I think. We already missed one.
Oh, did we?
Well, I mean, we missed a couple. There was some.
I think we have the audio drama too, right?
I don't know. I have to go back and look through the timeline. I'm not sure where we're at. I haven't paid attention. But I know we missed a couple of young adult books. I don't think we've missed any adult novels yet. But yeah, I'll look back through and we'll see what we want to do. So I guess let's brush off some of the negativity and let's talk about kind of future state. So I just said High Republic comics will probably continue to do those.
Maybe get into the adventure series. We have kind of gone back and forth on that as well.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I think, we've been doing some other books, non-canon, mainly Legends books. Those do have a bit of a commitment. I also do some books with Chase over at These Are the Voyages, and I've been doing stuff with them because there's actually a lot of TV right now for Star Trek. There's about to be 2 concurrent running series coming up here in a couple of weeks, so there's a lot of stuff going on there. But yeah, I mean, we had a pretty easy out for a while there with Bad Batch because that ran for 16 weeks. But I don't know, man. We're not really a theory channel. We don't really go over, Kathleen Kennedy supposedly being fired for the 15th time. We don't make up news. So a lot of our content has been in hard media. And I think that, there's probably some decisions we need to do as far as what hard media we're actually looking at. And I'll tell you, even then, if it's going to be a week by week show, and if it's just going to be maybe every 2 weeks or something like that. But I think that there's still a lot because there's no way I'm doing a book a week. I'm not, I don't have the time.
I don't think either of us have the time right now, even with my job switch allotting a lot more time for listening to audio books.
Yeah.
But no, I just can't consume that amount of content and regurgitate something that's actually worth talking about.
Yeah.
It'll burn me out.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we're going to try and mix it up with different stuff. But again, coming up fairly soon, we will certainly do, a watch of the Book of Boba Fett. And I don't know, did they ever say like how many like episodes, or is it one big thing, or?
I haven't seen. Let's Google it.
Yeah.
Details.
Well, I mean, we're detail guys as soon as we look it up. 9 episodes. That's a rumor.
I would be perfectly fine with that amount of episodes.
8 episodes. 9 episodes. 8 or 9 or 12 episodes.
Let's go with 8.
Yeah. Let's see if we have anything more. Yeah, I don't know that there's anything.
And are those
official.
weekly drops or one big dump?
Don't know. Doesn't look like I can find that yet. So who knows? But probably at least 8 episodes. So that'll do a little bit. I wonder if Andor's had anything. Nah, okay, they're just still saying 2022 on Andor, the Cassian series. And how about
I did see I'm not going to talk about it because I didn't read the articles about it, but I did see that we had some cast announcements for Acolyte, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I haven't really been keeping up. I don't know if I care enough about that.
Tell you, it's just going to be old Sheev and the Master.
Yeah, it's just looking like 20...
I know it won't be, but it would be cool.
Yeah, I doubt it. Yeah, exactly. It does look like a lot of this stuff is going to be 2022, so...
Yeah.
Realistically, we might have a relatively busy 2022. I don't know.
Yeah.
It legitimately all depends on them. But there is a lot, and we'll certainly react to that. We'll certainly bring books.
I wonder
into
how
the
much
fold.
of a break we'll get from the books due to that, because we don't really have as much of a 2022 schedule yet on the books. So I know we have a few, but certainly not filling out the year yet.
Yeah, true enough. So I don't know. We'll see. I would, however, just pause before we go into Book of Boba Fett to say that this is a really good time for you to shoot us a communication.
Yeah.
If you have stuff
if you
you'd
really like us, tell us what we could improve on. What content you would like to see realistically.
Yeah, exactly. If you have something you want us to discuss or would at least like our detailed guide opinion on, I mean, we're more than happy to talk about anything. It's just, again, we're not really a theory channel. We don't really do that.
Sit here and talk about what would have happened on Mustafar if Yoda went instead of Obi-Wan. No disrespect to channels that do that. I'm specifically picking content out from a creator right now. I'm not putting them on blast. I enjoy the content. I'm just not the guy to do it.
Well, and then some of those people really do it more for the clicks than anything else.
Yeah.
And they're much more, some of those are much more popular channels, and that's cool. It's cool for them.
And they put a lot of effort and time into it. I'll give them respect for that. It's just not, I would rather focus on actual canon than what ifs, personally.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. So, email us at TC Plan Podcast. Hit us up on Twitter at well, okay, the email, I didn't finish it. tcplanpodcast@gmail.com is the
assume.
email. All this is
they
down
know.
in the description or whatever you want to call it. It's all down there. But yeah, Twitter at TC Plan Podcast, and we are on Facebook as well. But again, we're not really social media guys. We are detail guys, just not social media guys.
Follow us so you can be ignored.
Yeah, well, I mean, we won't ignore you if you interact. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. So anyway, Book of Boba Fett. Want to go over this little trailer? Minute 48
Book
trailer.
of Boba Fett, that is not a book. It's great.
Yeah, kind of weird title. But yeah, beginning of this, we get to see the little brain spiders. You know the story of the brain spiders?
I do, and I'm kind of excited to see how far they delve into that. I hope they really go into it.
They won't. I guarantee they won't.
I know.
I mean that's like it's.
Well,
it's
they killed off. What's his name?
Yeah, one of the Hutts.
Well, Jabba's major domo.
Oh,
who gets taken by the brain spiders for a while, and
right. Yeah.
Can't think of his name now, but
yeah. What Bib Fortuna?
yeah, good old Bib.
Well, there's also a book with Jaina Solo and the spiders, which was pretty cool. But yeah, a lot of them were monks essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was interesting to see that in here. They obviously had it in Return of the Jedi as well, but yeah, kind of neat.
Definitely looks like more practical effects too, which I appreciate.
Same, a lot of creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of little creaturey thingies, which is pretty cool. I can certainly get down with that. Trying to
The little market scene looks pretty awesome. They definitely put a lot of time into the city.
Yeah, I was actually just trying to get the subtitles on. Apparently, YouTube's like, screw you, buddy. You don't need subtitles. You need to listen to this. But yeah, it seems like they're really making a big grand set for all this, which is cool. And yeah, it seems like this is kind of crime family-ish. Maybe taking over
Godfather action going on.
Yeah, taking over Jabba's throne. The only thing that I think is kind of interesting, they're definitely playing off of the more tame Boba Fett that they displayed in The Mandalorian, where he seems to be almost like reformed, as like, I intend to rule with respect. What? You
You're
intend
not acting
to...
very respectable in the comics that you're currently in. Why are you being all respectful now? I need context. Why are you nice now?
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. I mean, obviously it's still Underworld-esque, but yeah, trying to do almost like a sort of nicer Boba Fett type of thing. Meeting with the captains, in quotation, captains. We have some Trandoshans there.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about the mutual beneficiality of the whole thing. I'm just a simple man trying to make his way in the galaxy. That kind of whole vibe. And this whole deal where the what was the line? It was something in there about what's gonna stop us from just killing you? It's like
taking what we want.
Well, you can speak your mind. What I need from you, what I need from you
such
is
insolence.
what I
Jabba,
need from you
you
is some respect, just some basic respect. It is kind of cool though that Tamir Morrison is he definitely gets his little crazy face going as he's beating up some of these I don't know, I'm assuming like hired thugs and so forth. Yeah. So
Tamara, I will say, is going to make or break this show because he really takes his role so seriously compared to so many other actors in Star Wars. Not to talk down about anyone else, but he is just amazing. He really is.
Well, here's the thing. So I do find this interesting. He is how old? He's 60 years old. Okay, he is 60 years old. As far as career accolades, he definitely has a repertoire. He certainly has been in stuff, but not in a giant way. Okay, it's not knocking him, but
No, but
he's not
he had his
necessarily the quintessential leading man. But I have to say,
which is sad because I think he could be.
Well, and he absolutely could be. And I think that giving him the opportunity here is a really cool thing for Disney to do.
Yeah,
If
something
he is
different
indeed
than
the
voicing
lead
clones.
character.
True enough.
But I think he will be. But again, we could get the swerve. But yeah, I mean, he obviously played such a big part in like Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith because he was every clone. And what I mean?
Yeah.
But he
could probably retire off of that and Clone Wars alone.
Maybe. And then we have Ming-Na Wen. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Who, I mean, I love, and she's one of those actresses where you look back through her resume and you're like, oh my God, yeah, that's right. She's been in everything.
Yeah.
So she totally deserves to have this sort of spotlight here, and I definitely think her inclusion in The Mandalorian was interesting. But we're also talking about like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where which was pretty long running, and again, you just like, if you really look down her list of accolades it's pretty impressive. So I think it'll be a pretty potent combination between the two of them. Again, if they focus it based around them. But I am interested.
On the trailer, it seems like they are the only two actor and actress, respectively, worth talking about so far.
As of now, yeah. But I am interested to see what the heck this story is supposed to be. You know what I mean? What exactly?
I think it'll be very, very closed off to the rest of the Star Wars universe. It'll be very just Mos Eisley and everything centric. I don't think we're going to deal with a lot of tie-ins to other characters. I don't think we're going to have CGI Luke or any of that going on. I think we're going to just focus on this little crime story and be done.
Well, and I guess, what is the crime story? You know what I mean? What exactly do they turn Jabba's palace into? I mean, is it spice? Is it, some other tradable commodity? Are they going to like run to Banagas, or, just what are we going to bring up that's going
space fuel?
Well, I mean, that is the thing in every crime story. I mean, what did the Corleones, what were they over in The Godfather? They had their things that they started off with, and then what they controlled later in the movie. I mean, what exactly is Boba Fett and Fennec Shand controlling in this? What are they offering to this whole kind of world that would make him worthy of Jabba's throne?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we mentioned, these lesser bosses kind of going after him and like, well, who are you? But we still have other Hutts to deal with as well. It's not like it was just Jabba.
Good call. It'll be interesting if they do bring other Hutts out here. But again, I think fundamentally, I'm wondering what it's going. I mean, what are they? Are they just protection now? Because there's even a part in here where it's like, I'm not a bounty hunter. It's like, come on. So what are they offering in basically return for this throne? I think will be an interesting. Will we see
Cobb Vance? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, that is an interesting thought. I don't know.
It could happen.
It certainly could happen.
I don't think that his character would lend itself to this type of story. I think it'd be kind of a cool tie-in, just a little, extra nod, wink, wink, even though we've already dealt with it. I think it'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, it could certainly be. I know that I've seen some comments where, people are like, oh, well, they're gonna bring in like Dengar and and Bosk and all the bounty hunters.
I'm not looking for a bounty hunter series. This is not about bounty hunters.
It might be.
And I have seen enough Dengar and Bosk to last a lifetime. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I don't know. We will have to see how it all shakes out, but it will be interesting to see what this is. It'll be interesting to see exactly what they have, sort of what is going to be their proverbial crime thing, or if it's crime or whatever. And then specifically what's going to be the conflict, because every show has to have some sort of conflict. Like who, and I think you actually nailed it. I feel like the conflict is going to be with other Hutts.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see why we would try to do like Imperial Remnant or anything like that. I think it's got to be Hutts, It really just has to be.
Yeah, I would think so as well. But I mean, there could be Imperials. You never know. So anyway, I'm cautiously optimistic. The only other thing I'd say about the trailer is the music. I really enjoyed the little jingle at the end. I thought that was pretty neat. I think the music sounds really good. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what this turns out to be. So.
Yeah, and I'll be curious in the next couple weeks to see if there's anything in the trailer we missed. Maybe people point out little Easter eggs or things like that. There's a ton of background stuff going on. I've only watched the trailer a couple of times, so I'm sure there's probably something hidden at some point that we missed.
Oh, what about the coins coming out of Boba's helmet? Oh, what were those all about? Whatever. What about the spoon thing that Finnick took out of her rifle and threw at somebody? That's a knife, probably, but yeah, whatever. It would be funnier if it were.
Rifle's
like
looking sweet, by the way. I'm glad they put some time and effort into that.
That's something that they always do, though. The rifles and everything are super. Well, I mean, just all the weaponry is always like top notch. You know what I mean? It doesn't always get like
for how little people actually talk about it and get excited about it. It really is something I appreciated from day one as a Star Wars fan. But they've definitely stepped it up here recently.
Yeah, 100%. So I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see how it all works out. We'll see if this is cool. But if they do half as well as they've done with The Mandalorian,
it'll still be entertaining. At least.
I think it'll still be entertaining. Exactly.
Yeah. And definitely better than War of the Bounty Hunters.
Or it could be
go
War
ahead
of
and
the Bounty Hunters.
Okay. Set up for War of the Bounty Hunters. How many years later?
Here comes Valance in there with his robot face. Him and Dengar. God. Yeah. All right. Well, there we go. Consider that trailer reacted to.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we need to talk about? Anything else? We don't have to go forever. We've almost yacked an hour, which I was surprised at.
Really?
Yeah.
And it wasn't extremely negative. I'm proud of us.
Well, it got kind of negative. We had to release the demons.
We needed a little bit. A little bit of that dark side energy had to go.
Exactly.
Especially for you. You get sick if you have too much of that around.
Jedi. Gotta purge. Gotta purge it out of there.
Purge Anarchy, Purge Election Day. Which one are we talking?
I mean, whatever. It's just general purges.
You even watch those movies?
No, I've
like
never watched them.
Okay.
Never watched a single one of them. I always thought they were kind of dumb. Yeah. I also don't like, potentially sadistic movies either.
Yeah. We have talked about that recently.
Yeah, I'm good.
I might just a little bit. I might have problems. Dark side energy.
Yeah, you do. You have problems. That's true.
Yeah, I do.
All right, all. So that seems to be getting down to the end here, so to speak. Gosh, I don't know. I don't know. Has there been any huge changes since we've last been on the show? You know what? I do want to give a shout out to a friend of mine, a couple friends of mine, actually. So we've talked about an unexpected podcast, Talking Tolkien, and my good buddy Lane runs that along with Ez. If you haven't given them a listen, you should. But general forever podcast, congratulations on their son Vigo. Very happy for you guys, and happy birthday to Sarah, because that would have been like today as we were recording. So good luck, you guys. 4 children and all. Have fun.
Living the dream.
Yes. You got any shout outs for all of time?
Shout outs. No, I hate all my friends. I don't want to shout out any.
All right. Darth's friends are stupid. No shout outs for them. All right.
I killed them all.
Oh, well, that's super morbid.
I killed all of them.
The women, the children, all of them. I killed them all. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It'll be totally fine. I mean, you're like still a good person.
We should have kids together. That'll go well.
Yeah, oh, jeez. Poor Padme. She just didn't get it. All right, y'all. Well, I think that's about it for today. Hopefully, you forgive us our purge of negative energy and enjoy what is all coming up next. I know that we've got a lot more to go. We're just might not be as regular here and there. Just all depends. But if there is anything, again, you'd like us to talk about, you know where to hit us up. I already said it, so I won't do it again. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, you guys have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.